Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for the Mobile Device Manager Plus training program. My name is Ruben Karthik, and I'm associated with ManageEngine for the past 5 years. I do the training and implementation for the endpoint management solutions. So here is our training schedule. It is a 3-week training series, and we are the last week of the training program, where we will see about the modern management of Windows 10 laptop and MacBooks. So last week we had about app management, and the week before we showed how you can onboard your mobile devices into the management scope. In case if you have missed any of these training program, you can always visit the below mentioned URL to see the question and answer discussed during the training program and also the recorded video of the training. And all the registered participants for this training will also get the recorded training video once the webinar is over. All right, let's see the training agenda, what we have in the store for today. So first, we will see about the overview of mobile device management solution. This is important for those who are not familiar with our MDM product. So I'm going to give them a quick introduction about mobile device management and the architecture and ports required to manage your devices, and how exactly the end device is managed using our solution is what I'll be explaining in the first part of the training. Then we will get into the topic where I'll be demonstrating how you can onboard your Windows 10 laptops over the air using autopilot enrollment. Followed by, we will see the MacBooks, how we can provision them using Apple Business Manager. So once we discuss about onboarding your Windows 10 laptops and MacBooks, we shall see how you can deploy basic settings like configuring VPN or email accounts or Wi-Fi profile onto those endpoints. Once that is over, we will see how we can silently distribute application without the user intervention, and also how you can deploy your own enterprise application using our product. Finally, I will share certain real-time scenarios and the best solutions for it, which I have faced in my support experience. And meanwhile, if you, the viewers, have any question, please feel free to post them in the chat section. Our expert panel can answer your questions right away. All right, let us see the overview of mobile device management solution. So here is the list of operating systems which is supported by our Mobile Device Manager Plus solution. So before we get into the topic about onboarding laptops and MacBooks, let me give you an introduction about the MDM. So here, using MDM, you'll be able to manage iOS, Android, Windows, and Chromebooks. When it comes to iOS, using our MDM, you'll be able to manage iPhones, iPad, and MacBooks. Even Apple TVs can be managed using our MDM. And for Android, it's going to be Android phones and tablet. And for Windows, it's going to be Windows Phone, Windows tablets can be managed, and Windows 10 laptops. And even if you have Surface up, then MDM is able to support these type of devices. And finally, Chromebooks can also be managed under our MDM. And the MDM is available in 3 editions, I would say. First, as an add-on to Desktop Central. So Desktop Central is the unified endpoint management solution where you'll be able to manage the legacy management of computers, like patching, installing softwares. Along with that, you'll also be able to manage mobile devices and do the modern management activities like geo-tracking and remotely wiping your Windows 10 laptops or MacBooks, which we will see in this training program. And if you're looking for a standalone MDM, then we also offer the ManageEngine Mobile Device Manager Plus, which is available on both on-premise and cloud. And if you have any MSP audience where you are planning to manage your devices from different organizations, then we also have ManageEngine Mobile Device Manager Plus MSP, which is available on both on-premise and cloud. And we understand this is not easy to just manage all the endpoint with just one tool. So that is why we leverage to integrate with as many applications as possible. Like you can integrate the MDM with our own management service test plus, which is a help desk tool, and other help desk solutions like Spicework, Jira Service Desk, and Zendesk support, and even you can integrate with ServiceNow. And if you're if you are having a client relationship management tool called Zoho CRM, you can also integrate that with our MDM. And we also offer you to integrate with our Zoho Creator software, which is a software creator application. And in case if you're looking anything outside this box, you can also refer to our API using which you can perform a seamless integration. All right, let's see the mobile device manager plus architecture. And when it comes to this, there are three major components which is involved. First is the MDM server, and the second major component is the notification services. So if you're managing Apple devices, it's going to be Apple push notification service. And for Android, it's going to be Firebase cloud messaging service. And for Windows, it's going to be Windows notification services. And the third major component is the end device itself. So to understand the architecture in a better way, let me give you an example. Say if you're trying to find out a location for a device, say even if you're trying to find out the locations of a Windows 10 laptop, what you will do using our product, you will initiate a command like locate the device, and that command will be sent to the appropriate notification service. If it is Apple, it's going to be APNS, and for Android, it's FCM. So in this case, if you want to find out the locations of a Windows 10 laptop, that command will be sent to the Windows notification service, which will wake up the device, and this device will contact the server as soon as the notification reaches out. And from the server, the device will get to know these are the commands, either an app installation, or in this case, we say find out the location. So it will perform the command, send its geo coordinates to the server, and as an admin, you'll be able to view the locations either in map along with the coordinates in the MDM console. If anyone is having an on-premise MDM server, then you can also have an additional component called Secure Gateway, using which you can expose that component for your internet devices. So if you're managing your mobile device or laptops within the same corporate network, then it is fine. In case if you're managing devices over the air or over internet, and if you don't want to expose your internal server due to security reasons, then we offer you the secure gateway component for it. And also you can integrate with Active Directory services, which makes you to assign the users to appropriate devices easily. And these are the list of ports used by our MDM solution. So 9383 is the port used for device to server communication, and the device to the notification services happen through these ports. And in order to know more about the inbound and outbound port information, you can always visit the below mentioned URL. So far, we have seen how does the communication establish, and our MDM also follows the client and server architecture. So how does the end device actually gets managed? Is when it comes to Android, you need to necessarily deploy an app, and which was covered in the first training program about onboarding devices. But in case if you have Apple or Windows or Chromebooks, there is no need of an application. We leverage the native OS client offered by the vendors through which you can activate the device management. And in order to know more about your device type and how you can onboard them and how we can set the solution, in case if you're looking for a free demonstration we offer you, where you can have a one-on-one session with our technical experts, and you can share your requirements where our technicians will be able to drive you accordingly. All right, so before we get into the topic, let me quickly take you to the product console and show you the options available in our solution. So this is what the entire desktop center product, which has the unified endpoint management features. So here you'll be able to do patching, software installation, and imaging. Along with that, you also have MDM. So if you are planning to manage mobile devices, You can also do it as an add-on to Desktop Central. In case if you're looking to do a remote command like modern management activities on your Windows 10 laptop and MacBooks, then you can go with the Desktop Central UEM. And if in case if you're looking for a standalone MDM, and this is how this URL looks like, and under Home tab of MDM, you'll be able to see the basic device types, what you manage, and you'll also have the audit log information. So what are the changes or what are the activities being performed by your administrators will get fed here. And under device management, you'll be able to create configuration profiles, and you can distribute application. You can also distribute document, which I'll be explaining on this training session today. And inventory helps you to track down the device details. And even if you're planning to blacklist any store application, then you'll be doing it under the inventory tab. And enrollment is how you onboard your devices into the management scope. And we have few reports, predefined reports, which is directly available. You can also schedule them. In case if you're looking anything outside the predefined ones, then you can also build your own custom report with the required columns, and you can also schedule the same on a daily or a periodic basis. Then under admin section, where you can configure your server NAT details and mail server settings. Even if there are multiple technicians who is going to manage the solution, then you can add user information here. And like I've said, this UI is going to be same for both on-premise and cloud. And for desktops and MDM, you will see the same options, whatever you see on the top, as a left-hand side options over Desktop Central. All right, so let's get into the topic for today. First, I'm going to give you about onboarding your Windows 10 laptops through autopilot enrollment. That is over the air, how you can activate our MDM on your Windows 10 laptops. And this is the autopilot enrollment workflow. First, you have to integrate your MDM server with the Azure Active Directory. And you need to have an administrator account license also to be purchased. Once that is done, you can add your devices to the Microsoft Store Business Store portal, through which you can distribute and activate our MDM. And to quickly check the prerequisites, first, in case if you have an on-premise MDM, you need to make sure you have a valid third-party certificate added to the portal. And next, you should have an Azure administrator account. Then you need to have the valid user license to assign the devices through this Microsoft Business Store. Let me show you how you can add the license and how you can activate the devices through autopilot enrollment. So first, you can log into Microsoft Azure Active Directory, and you can go to licenses section, where you can purchase the enough administrator account or user license for which you are trying to activate. Once that is done, after purchasing the license, you can go to Azure Active Directory, Mobility, MDM, and MAN. This is where you add your MDM server details. So first, let me show you how you can integrate your MDM on-premise. So you can click on on-premise MDM application. You can also update your MDM server name as per your need. After adding this information, you have to fill up the MDM terms of use URL in case if you have, or you can also use our default terms of use document, which is available under enrollment. Like I said, this is where you will be using mostly to onboard your devices. And here under Windows 10, you have Azure Autopilot Enrollment. So here you can find out the MDM terms of use URL, which you can just copy and paste, and the MDM discovery URL, which has to be updated on the Azure portal. So after updating these details, in case if you want to expose the API for performing certain integrations with your on-premise MDM, then you can also update your application ID, which can also be found in the same section under enrollment, Windows 10 Azure enrollment portal. You can just copy paste this detail and update it here. And you can also expose your API for performing certain integration. So this is how you will be adding your on-premise server information into the Azure portal. So after updating these details, you can just click on Save. And for integrating MDM Cloud, it's even more simple. So you will go back to the same Azure Mobility and MDM section where you can search for ManageEngine MDM, which is available on already in the store portal. So you can just add the server and you can configure the details likewise. You will also find the same section. This is how the cloud portal looks like. You can go to Enrollment tab. These information will already be filled, but still I'm showing you. So you can find out the terms of use URL and discovery URL. In case if you have your own terms of use document, you can also upload that link here. Once done, the API will be automatically integrated with our cloud server. So you can just click on Save. Once this is done, you can log into your Microsoft Business Store using the administrator account which you have purchased. And you'll go to Manage section, Devices, where you can create a profile. Profile is mainly to minimize the user's effort when when you activate the laptops for MDM. So you can just skip the Cortana settings or applying the OEM registration setup page, which you don't want the users to trouble. You can just turn it off by enabling the skip options. And even if you want to skip the privacy settings, you can turn it on. Likewise, you can customize your MDM profile as per your need. Once that is done, you can click on Add Device to update the device information to a group. And you can just use even a CSV import to update the device informations. Like all you need to have is the serial number information updated to the store portal. Once that is done, you can select the required device and choose the autopilot deployment and apply or assign the profile you have created. So once this is done, this has the profile updated to this particular device. Likewise, even if you have purchased 100 Windows laptops, you can just upload them and assign the profile in one single go. And all the user has to do is just turn on the device, which has to be connected to a Wi-Fi, which will activate based on the serial number, and the device will get registered under our MDM portal. So once the device is registered, you can just go to the Manage section to ensure what are the devices been added recently. So here you can find the devices. In case if you haven't mapped a user account to your Windows 10 laptops, those devices will get listed under this section, which waits for the user assignment. So you can just click on Assign User, map it to the appropriate user account and email address, which will assign the device to the managed state. So this is how you onboard your devices into management portal. Now we shall see how you can onboard your MacBooks using Apple Configurator. For this, the same workflow, you have to integrate your MDM server with Apple Business Manager, then add the devices in Apple Business Manager portal through which you can distribute and activate it. For that, you go to Enrollment section. You have Apple Enrollment. Under Apple Enrollment, you have to choose Apple Business Manager. And for this to integrate, you just need to click on Add Server. So I've already added the server details, but you can add multiple servers under the Apple Business Manager portal here. So you can click on, first step is about downloading a certificate file from your MDM server and updating that information in your business portal. So I'll just download the PM file. This is like ensuring this particular certificate file has been coming from a trusted MDM. So it's like authenticating your MDM with Apple Business Manager. So you need to log in using your corporate Apple ID. And then you go to the Settings tab, Device Management Settings. And here you can add your MDM server. And the file, certificate file, whichever we have downloaded, you can just upload them here. Which will validate the MDM server details. And you can click on save, which will prompt you to download an S token. And you can upload that S token in our product. This is like a two-way handshake. You get a certificate file from our product, upload that information under the Apple Business Manager portal. Then you get the S token from here and upload it in the site. That's how you integrate. Once this is authenticated, once the integration is done between your MDM and Apple Business Manager, you can also skip what are the settings you want to skip on the device activation time. Then, in order to onboard your MacBooks, you can go to device assignments. So we are going to use the serial number of your MacBooks to activate the MDM account on it. So either you can manually type or provide your serial numbers of your MacBooks. If not, if you're purchased in bulk, you can also use the CSV import option to load all the details of your MacBooks, and you can assign it to a particular server. So once you click on done, the user just has to turn on the MacBooks, which will automatically validate the serial number, and it will push the MDM profile. That is all. So these are the two major techniques through which you can onboard your Windows 10 laptops and MacBooks. This is like over-the-air provisioning. So if you have any questions related to onboarding your devices, Windows 10 laptops and MacBooks, please feel free to post them in the chat section. Our panel can help you in answering that. So once the device is onboarded, say even if you don't want to provision them over the air, you do have an option to do a manual deployment, like say you can go to Enroll Laptop or Surface Pro section, where you can download a batch file which can be copied to the respective Windows 10 machines to install. Same applies for the MacBooks, where you can also go to devices, where you can send an email invitation to your Mac devices where the users can click on the URL to register. And once the devices are onboarded, now let me show you how you can apply basic configurations on your laptops. So let's say how you can configure Wi-Fi or VPN settings or email configurations to your laptops using our MDM, and how you can also lock down your devices to a specific application, or also for related to the restrictions or security hardening. So once after the devices are added, you can go to the device management. Here is where you create groups and you create profiles and add application to distribute. So under groups and devices section, you can create groups based on the device type or based on the users, or based, even if you want to import your user groups from Active Directory, you do have an option for it. This helps the administrators to select the required groups or even individual devices to apply certain profiles and application. So here is where we are going to see how you can create a profile for Windows 10 laptops and how we can apply that here in devices. So first comes, apart from the area integrations if you have configured on your laptops, you can also define a passcode policy, like say the minimum passcode length has to be 6, and I want the users to periodically change the password every 90 days. And what should happen if the user tries to enter a wrong password more than 6 times? It will do a factory reset. Say in case if this Windows 10 laptop has been stolen or lost, if you don't want the corporate data to get leaked, you can always ensure this option so that if any user or anyone who has the corporate laptop and tries to enter a password wrongly for more than 6 times, they do a factory reset automatically. So that's about a passcode policy. And then comes a restriction, where you can also restrict camera on your Windows 10 laptops, and also you can restrict telemetry functionality and network related stuff. Say I don't want the users to connect to a particular VPN, You can just disable this option. And let's say only whatever VPN configuration I deploy through this profile will only be authenticated on the devices. Then you can disable or restrict these options on your laptops. An application level, say if any user tries to install an answer application, I want to deny. So you have a restrictions tab here based on the requirement and based on the functionalities you're looking for. You can configure the policies, and you must save every payload. We will call the options whatever you see on the left-hand side as payload. So when you want to configure certain restrictions, you just need to configure everything and you have to save it. So if you jump over to the next payload, the settings, whatever you have configured, will not take its effect if you haven't saved them. And you can also distribute Wi-Fi profiles over the at your laptops. So say you can just update your Wi-Fi SSID number here or the details, and you can choose which is the security type, and you can configure the password, and you can distribute this particular profile over the air. And whenever your Windows 10 laptops comes within the corporate range, it automatically gets connected if you have enabled this option. And you can also configure VPN for your laptops. These are the list of VPNs we support. Update those information, the server name and IP address, and what type of authentication would you be using them to connect with your VPN. You can update those information. And kiosk mode is like locking down your laptops to a particular application. Say if this is for an educational purpose, or say this is for the delivery guys, I want them to use only certain applications to update. If in case of these laptops are in a retail shop, if the employee has to update only certain details on the laptops, then you can only configure these applications and you can distribute. This is like locking down the laptop with certain applications alone. So when the users logs into the laptop, all they can use is the applications, whatever you configure and distribute. And email profile is also possible to distribute your Windows 10 laptops. You can just update the username. In case if you go with dynamic variable, so whatever username or the email address being mapped to these devices, let's say this is the username and this is the email address and this is the username mapped to this laptop, it automatically gets assigned based on the enrolled information. So you can update your mail server details in this section, and you can save the details and you can distribute your laptops. Even you can update your Exchange actives in case if you use Office 365 or on-premise Exchange server, you can provide those information, the server details, and you can save the settings and distribute. And for security reasons, if you want to distribute certain certificates to your laptops, then you also have an option to add the certificates and remotely apply it to your Windows 10 computers. So this is how you create a profile. After creating a profile, you can publish them, and either you can go to groups and devices, select the appropriate groups and distribute. If not, this quick link automatically takes you there. Either you can select your required groups or individual devices, and you'll be able to distribute the profiles. So this is how you configure certain device settings for your laptops, and you can remotely apply them using our groups and device section. So this is how it looks like if you have locked down your Windows 10 laptops or tablets using specific application. So this image shows you the kiosk mode is configured with only applications like MDM, camera, and Edge. These are the applications which has been configured and locked down. So whenever the user unlocks the device, all they have access only to these applications. So now we have seen about the Windows side of it. Now let me show you what are the configurations you can configure for your MacBooks. So you'll come back to the same profile section. Here you can go to Apple profile. And you also have the same set of options for passcode policy. And you will find a separate option called Mac restriction. This section is all about configuring it to your MacBooks. So if you want to restrict camera, you can just enable this option, and security restrictions like if you want to disable the iTunes file sharing, you have an option over here. And the same applies like for Wi-Fi, VPN, and per app VPN is also supported for MacBooks. Say whenever the user opens a corporate email application or Microsoft Teams or any remote applications, and that has to use your corporate VPN to connect with, then you can choose the required applications over here, and you can update the VPN connection or the server name and IP address to it. So we also support per app VPN for MacBooks. And same applies for email and Exchange Active Sync. So whenever you go to any payload, in case if you're not clear with these options, you can always click on help link, which is available on the right hand side. With any tab you go here, you will find the help link, which talks more about that particular payload. So if you go to email and click on help, this informs more about what details has to update for this particular email account. The same for Exchange Active Sync. So you can configure the required details. So apart from this, I would like to say there are other security related features available for MacBooks, like a file vault encryption. If you want to configure file vault using a particular recovery key or with certificates, you can always go with these options. It's well and good to go with personal and institutional recovery key, where you can also upload the certificates to encrypt your MacBooks. So this option is also available under our MDM. And also, if you want to prevent booting up the MacBooks using an external device, you can also use the firmware protections here, which is available as a separate payload. So you can configure the password details, and you can distribute this particular profile to your MacBooks. And when it comes to deploying file vault encryption or firmware password, you have to create it as a separate profile. So you cannot have email configuration and file vault encryption in the same profile. So you have to create a separate profile when it comes to deploying a file vault encryption or firmware password. This is for security reasons. So you can create payloads based on your need, save the profile, and you can distribute to the required groups. You can create different profiles for different employees or different group of employees you own, and based on the restrictions which you want to imply, and you can distribute to the user end. And yes, what will happen in case if someone breaks into your Mac machine, get hold of the corporate data? That is why we have this file vault encryption or firmware protection, and even under restriction, I showed you how we can even restrict the data from sharing through iTunes or external device, and you can make sure the corporate data is never lost. So in case if you have any questions related to the profile management for Windows 10 laptops or MacBooks, please feel free to post them in the chat. Our team can help you. Now I'm going to show you how we can distribute documents and applications to our Windows 10 laptops and MacBooks. This section talks about the stored applications to Windows 10 laptop. So first, let me show you how you can integrate with Apple Business Manager to silently deploy applications. So again, you have to integrate with Apple Business Manager, which I've showed you already. And once the integration is completed, all you have to do is just approve or purchase the required application and distribute the devices. For that, you can go to Apps and Books section. So here, you can search for the required application you want to distribute to your MacBooks. Let's say you have to distribute Zoho Meetings app for conference or video call, or set up a remote session on for your MacBook, or the users who manage MacBooks. You can just search for the required application, and you have to make sure the software or the application, whatever you're trying to silently deploy, should have as device assignable. So you can search for the required application over here and click on the application name, and you can choose to which server you want to distribute this application to. And even if it is a free application, Apple demands you to mention the number of devices for which you're going to distribute this app. Let's say I'm trying to distribute the Zoho meeting application to 100 devices. I'll just mention the quantity and I'll click on OK. So once this is done, the app will automatically get synced under the app repository. And once the app is synced, you can just select the required group and you can choose distribute application and choose the required apps too. And choose the required apps to distribute your MacBooks. And when it comes to, just make sure I've already integrated the Apple App Management to my MDM server. In case if you, the viewers, haven't done that, you will see something like this. When you go to Device Management, App Repository, and Apple App Management, you will have to provide the same I've integrated on the server as well. So you have to provide something where it prompts you to get the same S token and upload it in our MDM side. So you can either choose Apple Business Manager or Apple School Manager. This is dedicated only for the educational institution. If Apple does support Apple School Manager for educational institution, through which you can add applications related to that. But however, if you are using it for a business purpose, you can click on the first option and you can log into your Apple Business Manager portal and get the server token, which is available under Apps and Books section again. So you will find the list of servers which you have integrated with. You can download the token here and you can update that in this section. Once this integration is completed, then you can go to Apps and Books, search for the required application. And just like I said, just remember whether you have the option enabled for device assignable. If this is enabled, then you can choose the appropriate MDM server and provide the number of devices for which you want to distribute. So this is how you purchase or add application from Apple Business Manager portal, and you can use it to distribute your MacBook silently. And let's see for the Windows Store application. For this, you can go to App Repository, Windows Business Store, and you can click on Login Now. And using your administrator account, you can update those information here. And you can, all you have to do is just read the terms and condition and accept. Once that is done, this automatically activates our MDM on your business store, which gets the app verified automatically. Once this is done, then you can go to your store and you can go click on shop for my group. Remember in the first section, we went to manage, add the devices to activate. Now you have to click on shop for my group to search for the required software. And you need to just click on the software and click on app, get the app option. As soon as that is done, automatically the apps will be added and it will start to sync. So once the apps are integrated, you can just verify the app source if it's either added to the Business Store application or it's been added through the Windows Business Store or Apple Business Manager. The main concept of integrating with the Apple Business Manager or Business Store is only when you approve application from the respective portals, you are eligible to do a silent deployment. If not, all you can do is distribute to the app catalog. The user has to open the MeMDM app on the device and either a Windows 10 laptop or a MacBook. They have to click on app catalog and the user has to choose what applications they want and they can install. But if you, the admins, are trying to find a way to silently deploy application, then you have to integrate with Apple Business Manager or Windows Business Store. Now, in case if you have your own enterprise application and you're looking for a way to distribute them using R2, then we do have an option for that. You can go to app section. You can also add the store app from here. But remember, when you add application through this way, it can only be distributed to the app catalog and the user has to complete the installation. And again, to show you how we can add your own enterprise application, you click on Add App, choose Windows Enterprise Application, and you can upload the Apex file here. So all you have to do is just choose or browse for the required application file, and this will automatically validate all the application details and it prompts to you. So you can even add an MSIX application or Apex file, and you can remotely distribute that to your Windows 10 laptops. So you can find out the app version and all the details are automatically updated here. And in case if you want to configure any dynamic variables, you can just add them here and upload that app to your repository. So once the app has been added to the repository, then you can, like how we did before, you can just go to groups and device section, select the appropriate groups, or even you can select the individual devices and you can distribute the required application. So this is how you add or distribute applications silently to your Windows 10 and MacBooks. Now we shall see the last scenario, how you can securely distribute corporate information through our mobile application. For that, we have content management here, that you can add the required documents. It can go up to 1 GB. You can add documents, the audio files, or video images based on your need. And you can remotely distribute that using our MDM. So once even in case if you want to give a description, say this is related to help docs. So I'll give a tag based on the need, and I'll upload this document into our MDM server. Once this is done, you can select the required documents or files, and you can share it to your required group or individual devices again. So now, once the document is being distributed to the users can go to MDM app again. They will find an option called Content Catalog. This is my laptop, which I've enrolled. So I'll just go to MDM app, click on Content Catalog, and I'll find the list of documents which my administrator have published. If you give a description, say this is our help documents, you will find a tagline help doc, and these are for IT help desk documents. Likewise, you can find separate tag based on the description you have provided. Then you can go to the downloaded section. Even you can initiate a download option from here. Once that is done, you can just click on the document and you can go through the files from your application itself. So in case if your email is restricting the attachment files, you can use our MDM tool for sharing the documents over the air. All right, so we are in the last part of the training program where I'm going to share you some real-time scenarios and the solutions, what I've faced in my support experience. So first scenario I've taken is to say you use Active Directory in your organization to manage user. And is it possible to remotely add the MacBooks to your organizational AD? Yes, we do have an option now in our MDM called AD Asset Binding. You can go to Profiles, create a profile for Apple, and you have AD Asset Binding, where you can choose to which Active Directory and to which OU you want to map your MacBooks to the domain. You can just update those information. Even when you click on Step to Obtain OU path, this gives you a command to execute, and just fill up those information here. And in case if you want to authenticate the users only within your corporate network, so only when the user is connected to your corporate network and when the domain controller is reachable, then the users are able to log into your MacBook. Then you can choose the network option. But in case if the users are at home and they want to log in using mobile network, then you can just go with the first option. This doesn't validate whether the Active Directory is accessible or not. Using the passcode policy, the users can log into your MacBook. So that is how you can add your MacBooks into your AD domain. And is it possible to share contact and calendar events to our employees' iOS devices using the MDM? Yes. So we also have calendar sync and contact sync option under the profiles, where you can provide the card dev account information and the ports which has been used by your organization, and you can just save this profile and distribute. So to whichever device you apply this profile, this will have the calendar and contact information automatically synced from this particular server information, and the users will be able to see the event details. And the third scenario is how we can secure all the network connections in the managed devices. Either first, you can go with the VPN configuration just to make sure only certain users will have access to your corporate details. If not, you do have a policy called global HTTP proxy. So be it any network the user connects his device to, it will go through a particular proxy server, which can be updated here. Even if the user connects to their mobile data or their own home Wi-Fi, but still the communication or the external routing will go through this particular proxy server. So that is what the global HTTP proxy settings will help you out. You can also go through this help article, read about those information, and you can apply this to all your devices just to make sure the communication happens only through a particular proxy tunnel. And the fourth scenario, in case if you want to know whether there is an option to prevent the data loss time. Yes, we also have a failover server, which is an add-on feature to MDM on-premise. So this validates the downtime of your primary MDM server, and if it is down for more than 30 seconds, the secondary MDM server will come up. So you have to configure, you have to get a license for that, and you need to have a common MS SQL database to integrate or to map both the primary and secondary server. So in order to know more about the failover configuration, you can also request our chat panel who can share you the document. If not, even if you're looking for an implementation setup, you can reach us via live chat. And is it possible to decide what other data should be fetched and displayed by MDM to the users? Yes, we have the options to define. If you go to admin, device privacy, here as an MDM administrator, you can define what are the actions or what are the details to be collected from your devices and what are the actions to be performed on your devices. Say, if you want to do a complete wipe or corporate wipe on your Windows 10 and MacBooks, you can enable these options. In case if you're not going to make use of those remote wipe commands, you can disable them. And even if you want to see the phone number or device name or the user installed applications in our inventory, you can just choose collect and display or do not collect. So based on the input here, the user's information will be collected and displayed. And the same information can also be seen by the users from their MDM app. So if they click on terms of use or the privacy policy, here this lists out what are the details which is collected from the MDM server or the MDM administrators. So the geolocation, all such details based on the input you have configured here, this will also can be viewed by the users. And what are the options available to secure the MDM on-premise server from unauthorized access? So this is a web-based UI. You can log in from any machine as long as the MDM server is accessible. So you do have an option to restrict the UI access from particular IP address. If not, you do have an option to configure certain authentication for your administrators. So for that, you can go to admin, user administration. So you can add the users based on AD authentication, and also you can define or give scope for your technician either to all the devices or only to certain group of devices. If not, even for the same user, if you want to configure AD authentication and also make sure the users who have access to the MDM console should have a passcode. This is for the login credential. So you can even define what should be the minimum passcode length for the server access. You can just configure that details. Along with that, you can also enable two-factor authentication, like you will get an OTP generated to the administrator's email address. If not, using Google Authenticator, you can use that to log into the product portal. So one thing, you can use an option to secure the UA access from certain IP address. Along with that, you can also configure two-factor authentication and passcode policy for your administrators to log into the MDM console. And is it possible to secure the personal information when you download a report or when you submit these reports to the auditing purposes? Yes, we do have an option under admin export settings where you can define either to hide the personal information or mask these personal informations when you take a report, either manually when you export or when you schedule them. So let's say I choose hide personal information. After that, when I go to inventory tab, so let me enable the user's email address. And serial number information or IMA details which has to be detected. So I'll enable these columns. And if I export these results in PDF or CSV format, since I have selected to mask these information, when I click on this report list, this will hide out the email, IMI number, and serial number information. So using this, you'll be able to submit that for your auditing purposes too. And so to give you a quick summary or wrap up on the MDM modern management features for Windows 10 laptop and MacBooks. So if it's a laptop, you can just click on that where you can find out the information about the laptop, which runs on what OS, and the basic information about the device and what are the apps installed on this particular laptop, what are the certificates distributed to this laptop, and as an admin, what are the restrictions I have enforced on my laptops can also be seen here. And remember, you can also remotely locate your devices for Windows 10 and MacBooks. So you can initiate a command to enable the device location from our inventory section. And also, these are the remote command options, like you can either do a complete wipe or a corporate wipe. So complete wipe will do a factory reset. So if you want, in case this Windows 10 laptop has been stolen, if you want to remotely wipe all the company informations, you can either make use of the complete wipe or corporate wipe. So when you choose corporate wipe, whatever policies or whatever documents or application you distribute through our product will only be wiped out. And you can also remotely restart your computers. So that's it. We have come to the end of the training program. You can rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is being the best. And you can also spread word with the hashtag mobile device manager plus or /ManageEngine in the social media platform. And I thank each and everyone for joining the webinar in your busy schedule. And we'll update you about the next training program over email. Thank you, everyone.